Chapter 1. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, that depends. Regardless of how much space, time, or energy you have, chickens are a great addition to any backyard environment. They provide a nutritious, steady food source, whether they're used for eggs or meat, and can help control tick populations, ultimately preventing disease. They're low maintenance and provide years of entertainment. Whether you have a 100-acre farm or a half-acre suburban lot, chickens are a fun investment that doesn't require much skill to raise. Before you can start, however, you need the actual chickens. Depending on how much time you wish to invest, there are two options for starting a flock: from day-old chicks or incubated eggs. Buying baby chicks. Buying day-old chicks is a common option for many beginning chicken farmers. Because you don't need any special equipment besides a brooder and a heat lamp, which will be explained later in more detail, and aren't required to invest 3 weeks of your time in waiting for eggs to hatch. You also don't have to worry about whether the eggs you hatched were fertile, because the chicks have already been hatched. Overview. Depending on breed, quantity, and merchant, chicks range in price from $1 a piece to $5 a piece. Generally, broiler species, such as Cornish crosses, will be more expensive and layer birds will be less so. Chicks can be purchased in-store at retailers such as Tractor Supply, via catalog order through retailers such as Stromberg's, or from local chicken farms. If you decide to purchase started chicks from a physical location such as Tractor Supply versus online or through catalog order, find out the delivery dates to the store. That way you can purchase chicks the day they arrive, as opposed to receiving the leftover birds that have been confined to the store brooder for days or weeks. Although there's nothing wrong with purchasing chicks from common retailers such as these, it's more difficult to purchase a large quantity of chicks of the same breed. Most state agriculture laws mandate that chicks be purchased in quantities of 6 or larger. And when you are picking or choosing from whatever the store has, it can be difficult to develop a homogeneous flock. Special ordering through chicken farmers or online or catalog retailers helps prevent this. In most cases, mail-ordered chicks aren't more expensive and can be shipped directly to the post office or a local feed store. Incubation process. Overview. Buying chicks tends to be the most popular option for chicken farmers in their first year, as they don't have a starter flock from which to gather eggs to incubate. However, incubation is another popular option, especially for chicken farmers in year 2 or later. Although there's some additional expense in purchasing incubation equipment, these costs are eventually accounted for and even reversed, as the expense of buying started chicks is eliminated. If you decide to incubate chicks, try to keep at least 6 birds or so between seasons. If you live in a climate that experiences cold, snowy winters, consider keeping even more. You'll need at least 1 rooster and several hens for optimal production. If you only keep 1 hen and 1 rooster, you run the risk of unfertilized eggs. The more birds you have, the better the odds of fertilization and ultimate incubation success. Some hens will incubate their own eggs. A broody hen is one that has decided to set upon her own eggs until they hatch. If you don't have a rooster and your hen goes broody, that does not mean your eggs will hatch. They're not fertilized. A hen does not know the difference between a fertilized and unfertilized egg. In fact, some hens don't even know what an egg is and will collect stones or other small objects and sit on them instead. Not all hens go broody either. Some breeds have a stronger natural tendency to do this, such as Orpingtons or Silkies. The individual personalities of the hens will influence their broodiness more than anything else. A broody hen can hatch any kind of fertilized eggs and adjusts her own conditions in order to be successful. Some hens will even pluck their own breast feathers so that their skin can touch the eggs and provide necessary heat and humidity. However, not all hens will go broody, and even those that do are unpredictable. They can abandon their nest midway through the incubation period, ruining the chances of your eggs fully developing. Because of this, it's recommended to manually incubate your eggs with an incubator. This will help ensure a healthy hatch and the viability of your flock. Artificial incubators are not expensive. They range from anywhere between $50 and $300, depending on features such as humidity and temperature control, warranties, and add-on items. The HowExpert Deluxe, for example, costs around $130 and includes an automatic egg turner. Incubators should be set up either inside your house or in some other area of your property that does not experience dramatic fluctuations in temperature or humidity. A garage or basement can both be too unpredictable. A closet or confined space work better and also prevent nosy pets or small children from interfering with the incubating eggs. Make sure the area is as dark and temperature controlled as possible. Any swings in sunlight, heat, or moisture can affect the machine. Temperature and humidity are the most important factors when preparing an incubator. When you are researching incubators for household use, you'll likely find that most models have mixed reviews at best. Customers will frequently complain that chicks are lost as a result of a loss of humidity or a drop in temperature. Don't wait until this happens to alter the settings of your incubator. Preempt this disaster by experimenting with your incubator before you put the eggs inside. Don't rely on a cheap incubation machine to do all of the work for you. Before installing your incubator, invest in a good hydrometer and thermometer. You want to make sure everything is properly calibrated and controlled before introducing eggs. Give yourself a buffer time of around 2 weeks to play with the settings and dials of your incubator before you add eggs. Make sure your incubator maintains an ideal temperature between 98 and 103 degrees Fahrenheit, ideally right around 99. Observe and record the factors that change the temperature of the humidity. Did you leave a door open? Is the incubator receiving too much sunlight at certain times of day? Moving an incubator or placing it in an area that experiences even mild temperature fluctuations can drastically impact the internal temperature of an incubator. You also need to control the humidity. Chicks need around 50 to 65% relative humidity. Whatever you do, do not add eggs until your incubator is hovering right around these optimal conditions. If you invest in external controlling devices, such as an automatic egg turner and forced air fan kit, you're in luck. Sticking your hand into an incubator to alter conditions can cause fluctuations in temperature and humidity just as easily as placing your incubator in the wrong environment. By being able to control all settings from outside of the incubator, you'll be able to maintain more steady conditions. When you're ready to add eggs, don't get overzealous. The eggs cannot be packed too closely together, as they need some air circulation in order to develop. Most incubators have forced air fan kits, which help maintain uniform temperature and airflow within the incubator. You can also purchase these separately if you buy a second-hand or older model incubator without one. It's not recommended that you attempt to incubate eggs without some sort of method of air circulation. Eggs should be loaded into the incubator with the pointed ends at the bottom. They need to be turned and tipped at least twice a day. This can be a cumbersome process for chicken farmers who also have full-time jobs or other commitments. Luckily, most models of incubators can also be purchased with an automatic egg turner, or these can be bought separately and added to the machine. Most incubators hold around 46 chicken, 180 quail, 90 pheasant, or 40 turkey or duck eggs. If you're incubating multiple species, don't do so all at once, as each type requires different conditions for ultimate success. Avoid packing the incubator to maximum conditions the first time around, as they do need space for air circulation as well. Even if you load the incubator to maximum capacity, you will not successfully hatch 46 eggs. As previously mentioned, embryos are highly susceptible to fluctuations in temperature and humidity. There's also a very small likelihood that all of the eggs you include in your incubator will be fertilized. Even if your rooster and hens are 100% fertile 100% of the time, which is virtually impossible, eggs can lose fertility at the drop of a hat. Most chicken farmers incubate chicks in the spring. That means that you'll need to begin collecting eggs for incubation at the end of winter or early spring. In most wintry climates, that time of year is highly unpredictable. It's not uncommon for eggs to freeze in a nest box before they can be collected. A frozen egg is almost always ruined for incubating. Some hens stop laying altogether during cold winter months. To help combat some of this, collect eggs as soon as possible after your hens have laid them. Bring them inside and keep them in a cool, dark location, but not a refrigerator, until they're ready to be incubated. Turn the carton at least twice a day. Do not wash the eggs before storing. This will help increase the likelihood that your eggs stay fertile before you have enough to fill an incubator. Chicken eggs should be incubated for exactly 21 days, with temperature and humidity staying consistent throughout the process. Chicken eggs should be incubated for exactly 21 days, with temperature and humidity staying consistent throughout the process. Around day 17, it's possible to see an embryo and sometimes movement inside a fertile egg with the use of an egg candler. A candler is essentially a small flashlight, and in a pinch, a small flashlight can actually substitute for a candler. That allows a chicken farmer to see inside the egg to see embryos and, in some cases, movement. Using a candler is a fun way to monitor the progress of your chicks. At the start of the last 3 days, the temperature should be lowered about 1 degree and humidity should be increased by 5%. These conditions help account for the extra heat produced by large embryos, and to prevent the chicks from becoming attached to the internal membrane of their shell as they begin to break free. If you aren't usually home during the day, try to schedule your chicks' incubation period so that hatching occurs over a weekend. Not only is the process fun to watch, but you also want to be close by and able to adjust your incubator in case there's a change in temperature or humidity. In order for a chick to hatch, they must first pip out of the shell. To do this, a baby chick will form minuscule hairline fractures in the shell. This is impossible to see at first, but as they begin to unzip out of the shell, it will be possible to see movement and cracks in the outer surface. The chicks will poke slowly away at small sections of shell over a period of anywhere between 4 and 30 hours. Some chicks take longer to pip and unzip than others, so keep your incubator set up for around 25 or 26 days in total to ensure that all of your fertile eggs have hatched. When your chicks have made their way out of their shells, they cannot be moved right away. They need time for their feathers to fluff out before they can become accustomed to regular temperatures and humidity. Moving the chicks before their feathers are fully dried can kill them, and there's no need to do so right away. Chicks only need warmth at this stage of their lives, as they are provided with an ample source of energy from the egg yolk from before they hatched. Keep them in the incubator for up to 2 days to make sure they're dry, happy, and healthy. And be sure to welcome them to their new home when they're finally ready to be moved. Which option is right for me? If it's your first time raising chickens, purchasing started birds might be your best bet, at least for the first year. If you don't have an established flock, collecting enough eggs to incubate may be a lengthy, expensive process. In addition, the nuanced nature of monitoring, controlling, and successfully operating an incubator can be an added stress in the already stressful process of raising chickens for the first time. Cost is an additional factor for consideration. Although started chicks are more expensive when selected as an option for several years on end, incubating has a higher startup cost than buying started chicks. You'll also want to consider breed, purpose, and flock size when deciding whether to incubate or buy. Depending on how many chickens you would like to raise and whether you would like a homogeneous flock, this can impact your decision. There are 3 types of chickens: broilers, specifically for meat, layers, specifically for eggs, and dual purpose for eggs and meat. Broiler birds tend to grow faster than layers, up to a pound or two a week, and can be slaughtered within just a few weeks. Laying birds will take much more time and feed to mature, but will produce a more consistent long-term food source in their eggs. There are countless breeds of both types of birds available. Two popular meat species are Cornish cross and Jersey giant. Cornish crosses are the typical birds used for commercial meat production. They reach 12 pounds in 8 weeks and have a high feed conversion ratio. However, they must be butchered within that 2-month period, or health problems can quickly ensue. Jersey giants also grow to about 12 pounds, but much more slowly, resulting in a slower feed conversion but fewer health problems. Most laying chickens can also be meat birds, but they don't put on nearly as much meat as broiler birds. The Leghorn breed, for example, will only grow to about a few pounds. Their body energy will be designated primarily toward producing large and frequent eggs, and some breeds produce large quantities of eggs in just 1 week. The vast majority of chicken species, however, are combination or dual-purpose breeds. Because very few people own chickens solely for meat or solely for egg production, most breeds have been bred for both purposes. The New Hampshire Red, for example, is a popular breed that was bred in the state of New Hampshire to reach early maturity and produce large eggs. It reaches about 7 pounds at full maturity and lays on average 3 to 4 eggs a week. You'll also want to take into consideration the climate and setting where you live. Some birds simply aren't as cold-hardy as others or stop producing eggs when the weather is too hot or cold. Other breeds, such as the New Hampshire Red, feather out quickly and can fend for themselves during any time of the year. You should consider whether you'd like your chickens to free range, graze within a fence line, or live primarily in a stationary coop. With all of these necessary decisions in mind, select the best option for your lifestyle and goals. Keep in mind that an incubator is a wise investment to make if you plan to engage in long-term chicken farming. If you choose to only buy started chicks, you'll have a consistent yearly expense of up to hundreds of dollars. If you invest in an incubator, you can recoup its initial startup cost in just a few months. Incubators also offer you the option of hatching and then selling your own started chicks or pullets, allowing you to make anywhere between $1 and $20 a bird for minimal effort and overhead cost.